Hi, Pogo Tribe, it's Katie here. I guess I just wanted to address the trans-related video. So for the first bit, the reason why we start off with our pronouns, which by the way mine are he and they, we do that so that we get them out of the way. It makes for an easier conversation because it saves the awkwardness of having to call somebody out if they use the wrong pronouns. So it's usually less awkward for us to just get it out of the way than having to correct somebody down the line for using a pronoun that doesn't fit for us. And the second reason is to judge our safety. We're almost 10 times more likely to be attacked than gay people, so it's really dangerous for us sometimes, and getting the fact that we're trans out of the way can actually help us gauge whether or not someone is safe to be around. And it can help us decide, is this somebody we want to talk to, or is this someone that I really, really need to get away from? And it sort of gives us an out very quickly if we have a negative reaction. As for the whole dating conversation, I don't think the easiest conversation for us to be having or the most fair for a few reasons. The first reason is that it's not being led by trans people. And so while Arielle is, I guess, a part of the LGBT, lesbians and trans people don't often have that much in common in our experiences. So it's best to allow trans people to lead the conversation rather than having cis people do that. The second reason is that it's a lot more real of a conversation for us to be having than it is for the cis people. Because for cis people, it's often hypothesizing, would I, won't I, in what circumstances. But for the trans people, this is something that we hear every day. And it becomes a big part of our self-esteem. When we constantly hear, I'm fine with you being trans, but I won't date you, or I would only date a trans person under certain circumstances, it makes us scared of coming out because we worry that we are never going to be loved. And so obviously we're never going to force someone to date us, but we do want consideration in the conversation because it can be really hurtful for us. And we totally understand why somebody might not want to date us, but sometimes it's better to allow us to speak than to try to talk about why you won't date us. I think it's a much bigger deal than a lot of people think it is. For example, in Leela Alcorn's suicide note, she cited one of the reasons for committing suicide is that she felt that she was never going to be loved. And it's a big thing for a lot of trans people that we feel that we are not going to be loved if we come out. And we never know if someone is going to abandon us, is going to actually want to be with us. Because we are often fetishized, but we're very seldom loved. And so it sort of puts the trans members and the cis members on two different tiers. Us trying to defend why we should be given consideration or why it's an unfair conversation to be having. And for cis members to just take it as another thing to potentially discuss without thinking how hard this is for trans people to be talking about. So I guess in all of this, I just want to say that we need to be focusing on the trans people in this conversation and what this conversation might make them feel like, instead of looking at it as a purely intellectual thing. Because when it comes to love, nothing is very easily broken down into an intellectual debate. All right. Thanks. Bye.